We are about to design Tesla's homepage from scratch on WordPress. You'd think that this would be a little bit of a challenging project to try to tackle, right? But the truth is, Tesla doesn't really reinvent the wheel when it comes to the layout of its pages. The current homepage that they're rocking is very minimal. They simply dedicate a few different sections of their homepage to promote some of their cars and solar products alongside some call to actions, and that's pretty much it. All right, let's get to building. You're gonna see me using two different tools in this video. The first one is Thrive Theme Builder, which is the tool that I'm going to use to recreate the header and footer of Tesla. And then to create the actual page, I'm going to be using Thrive Architect, which is by far my favorite and the best page builder available for WordPress. All right, let's just get to building. All right, so before we log into WordPress, I think I want to just take a couple of minutes to break apart how I think we're going to be designing this inside WordPress. So first things first, we can see that the header that Tesla is using is pretty simple. It's essentially made up of a 3-column layout, right? So we've got one column here, which consists of the logo. We've got another column here in the middle, which is made up of the navigation menu. And then we've got one more right-hand column here, which has these 3 little icons. Very simple header. It is a mega menu. So when you hover over this, it does kind of like expand, and you've got all of these different car images that you can click on. Pretty slick, right? I mean, there is a video. I'm not going to spend too much time in the menu here on this video, because if not, it's going to end up being a 2-hour video. But if you click on the link popping up on screen here, I do walk you through how to set up Apple's mega menu, which would be kind of similar to this one. So if that's something that you want to check out, make sure that you check it out once we've powered through this video. All right, so aside from the header, we then have one long background section, right? And you're going to see me speaking in terms of Thrive Architect language. So background section is essentially the building block that we're going to start working from when we are designing in Thrive Architect for pretty much any kind of design, right? So the first thing that we're going to drag in into our canvas is going to be a background section, as you're going to see in a minute. So we have one big background section that is made up of a background image, which is the image of these 2 cars and the mountains and this really slick looking road. And then we simply have a content box here that has a little bit of text, and then 2 columns here, which has, it has a left-hand column with 1 button and a right-hand column with a different button. Pretty simple, nothing too complicated. And if we keep on scrolling down, it's essentially the same thing. We've got another background section, right? With 2 more buttons, some text, and the actual background image. This is gonna be super simple. And I think we're ready to get started. So before we start, some people have been asking me, hey, how can we get the images in on our end, so on your end, so that you can follow along and continue to build as you watch me build this? And something that you can do is, if you right click on Tesla's homepage and you do inspect, this is going to open up the developer tools. And in the developer tools, if you go inside sources, there's a folder here, and here under digitalassets.tesla.com, if you open up all these folders, there's one of them, Tesla contents /image/upload. And you'll find all of the images that they're using on their homepage. I find it amusing how I don't know why, I find it funny just to look at how these guys name their images, because it's actually very similar to how I name my images when I'm working on websites. Homepage, Model S, desktop, V2. It looks like they worked on a V1 image and they decided to swap it out for a V2. It's things that we do here on our end, and it just reminds you that, hey, people working at Tesla are just regular human beings just like us. But anyways, what's funny too is that you'll find different variations, right? You'll find a desktop image for the desktop version of the website, and then you'll find a portrait image of the same image, which is the one that they're using on mobile devices. Pretty nifty. Great, I'm in the back end of WordPress now, and the first thing that I'm going to do is work on my header and work on my footer. How are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to jump into Thrive Dashboard, And under my global elements here, I'm gonna create the header and footer under headers and footers. If you're now, in order for this to work, you gotta make sure that you have Thrive Theme Builder installed on your site and running as your main theme for WordPress. Otherwise, if you create headers under global elements, but you don't have Thrive Theme Builder up and running on your site, you're not gonna be able to swap it out, the header that you're about to create with me, for whatever header you're using on your site at the moment. So it's important that you have Thrive Theme Builder installed, and we're gonna create a new header. And check this out, I actually have Peak running on Thrive Theme Builder right now, and there's this 3-column template, which has the Peak logo, a navigation menu, and then a button that I think we can repurpose to try to save some time. So let's start creating our new header from this template that has already been created by our team of designers here at Thrive Themes. It's transparent over content. So let's choose this header and let's give this a name. We're gonna call this Tesla header. Great, so as you can see, the header itself is trying to position itself over content, which is great. That's exactly what we want. And what we're gonna do is just quickly customize this. Let's swap out this logo for the one that Tesla's using. The logo for Tesla, I did have to look it up on Google, FYI, because I couldn't grab it from their site. And then here, let's just see which menu items they're making use of. They've got vehicles, energy, charging, discover, and shop. So let's do vehicles. And actually, wait, this is a simple navigation menu. So let's swap this out for an actual, let's do menu above our custom menu. And we're gonna do a mega menu. That way, even though we're not gonna spend too much time customizing the mega menu, at least we will be, creating that effect that we're going after, which is kind of similar to the one that Tesla has going on their site. Okay, so we have our mega menu here. Let's delete this custom menu that we no longer need. Menu box, custom menu. Let's delete that one. Here, I don't need a background style, so let's make this 0. And we were talking about vehicles. We were talking about energy, charging. And we were also saying discover and shop. We need one more for shop. Menu items. That's a new one. And let's do shop. Great. Let's hit save. Always a good idea to be saving your work. And then we're going to delete this button. And we're going to make this column a little wider. We're going to insert a 3-column layout. So some more columns inside this right-hand column. Let's make it a 3-column layout. And we're going to drag an icon inside this left-hand column. We're looking for something that looks like a question. So perhaps something like this maybe. And we want that to be black. Let's make this black, and probably 24 pixels is more than enough. Perfect. Let's duplicate that icon, drag it into the center column, and let's make this an web icon. Perfect. And let's duplicate that icon, bring it over into the right-hand column, and let's make this a user icon. Should be good enough. Perfect. And we can go back to making this a little bit more narrow. I think I just want to bring the margins and paddings in a little bit because the current height of the header is a little too tall. So let's just go in and inside this simple mega menu, layout and position, let's get rid of some of these margins. Same thing for these icons. Great. Columns. Perfect. This logo needs to, okay, this logo doesn't have any margins. Column. Notice how I'm using the breadcrumbs for easy navigation, and I think that should be good enough for now. So that takes care of our header. Let's go ahead and hit, save your work, and you can do exit without saving once you've actually saved your work. Great. Let's go back to our Thrive dashboard. Dashboard, global elements. And now instead of a header, we're going to create a new footer. And the footer that we're going after is kind of simple. It's just a black background section with all this text and a simple menu towards the bottom. Pretty simple stuff. All right, let's create a new one. We're going to create this one from scratch. No need to look for a template. So let's do a blank footer. And we're going to call this Tesla footer. Great, so let's make this footer perhaps 400 pixels tall. We're gonna make it fully black. We need a content box. Let's vertically position everything inside the footer to the middle. And here we're gonna drag in a text element. Let's copy and paste all of the text that we've brought over from Tesla. Let's make the text make the text white, and I think I just want to make the text super narrow. And for some reason, they've got the text justified to the middle, which I don't love, but for the sake of keeping it looking as close to that of Tesla's, let's just copycat them, and then we simply need a custom menu towards the bottom. This one can be a simple drop-down menu. And let's just pick the basic template here. All right, let's make the menu items white. Perfect. And here we simply need Tesla copyright 2024. And we need privacy and legal. Vehicle recalls. We need contact and news. And I think that should be good enough. Custom menu items. Let's do news. Great. And I'm a little bit OCD about that, so let's just get rid of these sub menu items. Great. I think I just want to make the font a little bit smaller for these custom menu items. Let's make it 14. And let's make them a little closer together. So under custom menu, let's make sure that the spacing in between items is not that big. Great. And now I think I just want a little bit of top margin to create some distance in between the text element and the custom menu. So let's add in like 60 pixels of top margin, maybe even more. Let's do 80. Perfect. Save work. And I think that should take care of our footer. Yeah. I think the font here is a little bit, it's even smaller than the one Tesla's using. But anyways, let's just leave it like that for now. Let's hit save. Great. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create our new page. So we simply need to create a new page called Tesla. Let's save it as a draft and let's fire it up with Thrive Architect. This new page, we simply want to start with a completely black canvas, but we do want to bring in the header and footer that we just created. So let's pick out a standalone page with header and footer to start working from. Now, this is clearly not the header and footer that we just created. So for headers, let's make sure that we change the header and we look for the one that we just created. So let's look for Tesla header. That's the one. Perfect. And we're going to do the same thing for the footer. We're going to change the footer and we're going to look for the Tesla footer that we just created. Great. Perfect. And now we can start creating our actual page. So we're going to drag in a background section. Remember how I was telling you earlier that your background section is going to be your pillar widget that you're always going to be working from, at least if you're designing from scratch, right? If you're designing from a pre-made template that one of our designers has created, then it might be a block, it might be a content box, but typically speaking, it will be a background section. And for this background section, we're going to enable the option to match height to screen. And what that does is essentially it matches the height of this section to cover the entire height of your browser screen. If you take a closer look at what Tesla's doing, this image is covering my entire height of my browser, right? I mean, what you're looking at is the entire full height of my a web browser. I'm currently using Arc browser, and yeah, it's just covering up the whole thing. So we want to replicate that behavior, and to do that, we want to make sure that we enable that option of matching the height to screen. Now, for our image, let's do for background style, for this background section, we're going to insert an image. And I think that the image we want is this one, right? Nice. We're going to set that to cover, and let's hit apply. Great. And I can start to see that there's a little bit of a shadow here on our header, right? That we don't necessarily need. So let's edit the header. And for the background style, you'll see, see how there's a little bit of a gradient on our header. Let's just remove that. We don't need that. But other than that, that is pretty close to what Tesla has, right? Pretty cool. All right, let's keep working on this. Let's hit done editing our header. Let's save our work. And now let's continue to make some magic. So here we want model 3 as an, I would probably say that's an H2 heading. So let's drag and drop a content box here inside our background section. And let's position things, vertically speaking, aligned to the middle for our background section and content box, both things. So now we have a content box, right? Inside our main content box, we're going to drag in a text element, and we're going to do a heading 2. Let's just do model 3. I'm not spending too much time figuring out which fonts Tesla is using. I think this looks like a, I don't know if they're using like a, yeah, it's a universal sans display. I would imagine that that's something that you can probably find online. I'm just using one called Archivo, which looks kind of neat as well. Anyways, the font is black. So let's make this probably, oh, that's too bold. Let's see, Archivo 500. Okay, I'm just going to keep it lightweight. But we do want to make this black. I'm wondering if perhaps using Enter, if you've watched some of my tutorials before, you probably know that I love using Enter as my font, regardless of what website I'm building. Yeah, that probably looks a whole lot more like what Tesla's using. So let's just keep it, let's just continue with using Enter. Model 3, and then we need, let's do another text element here. Actually, let's just duplicate this Enter font. Let's make it a paragraph text. Let's make this probably like 24. I don't need this to be bold, but I do need, okay, so this is, let's just copy and paste this text. And let's just paste it in there. Perfect. Great. So now we want to position this text element here up in the sky, right? It's very hard to read at the moment because it's sitting on top of these cars. So there's a couple of ways for us to do this. And I think that the way I want to do this is to simply head over to advanced, make sure that you've got the content box selected. And yeah, we just want to underline this thing. Great. And make sure, again, make sure that you've got the content box selected, navigate over to advanced. And with having the position set to relative for this content box, you can just add in some vertical space to drag that over to the top. So -200 pixels should do the job. It's looking pretty good. Excellent. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to drag in another content box underneath this one. And we're going to do a 2-column layout inside the content box. And the color of the buttons are black and white. Perfect. So we're going to drag in a button. And we're going to do, it's order now, order now. Great. And that one is white. Let's make this no letter spacing. Let's make it bold. Yeah, it's not bad. Let's make this a little wider, and let's make it, I think this one was black. Oh, it was white. Okay. Let's make it white, and let's make the typography black. And we're going to duplicate this button and switch up the colors. So this one is going to have background of this is going to be black, and the typography is going to be white. Perfect. Select these columns, select the content box, and for this content box, since I don't want my buttons to be spreading out to covering the full width of the screen, right? You see how these these two buttons are too far apart from each other. I'm just going to select the content box where I place these two columns and enable a maximum width. And we're going to do center that. And let's see why these two buttons are getting squashed up. So let's jump over here, buttons. Oh, let's make sure that we have the maximum width of these buttons should be auto. Don't make it fixed, make it auto. And here, don't make it 40%, make it auto. And make sure that you don't have a fixed width, auto. Great. These columns don't seem to have any fixed or max widths. And then for the content box, I also want to make sure that I make it a minimum width, right? So let's make this button full. And let's make sure the content box, in the same way as we've added in a maximum width, we also want to add in a minimum width. Otherwise, these buttons are going to keep on stretching down because they're aligned to the middle. That should be good enough. Let's get rid of this top margin, and we can probably position this, vertically speaking, towards the bottom. Where exactly is it positioned? It's underneath the road. So let's bring it all the way down here. And since we have added in another element to this background section, these -200 pixels of vertical positioning are going to take into account the fact that, hey, there's another element sitting underneath this one, and we want to make sure that we adjust this a little bit more. Perfect. So like 125 seems to be doing the trick. And that is starting to look pretty cool, right? Let's hit save. And here's a trick for you to speed up this process, okay? Before we continue to work on this, since this is a background section that I'm simply going to be able to duplicate in order for me to save some time, I want to make sure I optimize this for mobile as well. So remember how I was telling you that you can just inspect this page to grab the images. I don't think I selected or I grabbed the mobile version images. So you're going to see me do that right here, right now. I think it was here. Yeah, here. Let's do Model 3 mobile. So I'm going to drag that over into my computer. And then I can close down the developer portal. And here. All right, let's switch over to mobile view. There's a lot of work to be done here. So first things first, let's swap out the background image here. Background style, let's replace this with the image that we just saved from Tesla's website. And let's insert this into our page. Boom, this is a much better mobile version of the image, right? Because you can clearly see the two cars. They're not getting cropped in any strange way. So this is great. I can see why Tesla is doing this. We now need to make sure that the content box here is well positioned. So let's go into advanced. Here, let's make sure that we bring it down a tad bit. We're probably going to have to make the copy here smaller on mobile. Let's make it 18 perhaps. Yeah, it's much better. And these buttons here, again, let's make sure that they're properly positioned. Advanced. That is much better. Great. Looking good. We probably should optimize the header as well for mobile. For now, let's just make this black. And we can probably actually have these columns. This is definitely not how Tesla's doing it, but let's not wrap those columns. Okay, this is looking better, right? You get the gist at least. Hit done, switch over to desktop, and nothing has changed here. You have to love Thrive Architect, man. It is just, oh, I love it. All right. So the next section that we want to work on is fairly similar to the one that we just did, right? I mean, 2 buttons, image, some text. So we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to just select the background section that we've been working on, and we're gonna hit duplicate. And that has literally duplicated the section that we have just worked on. So now it's just a question of swapping out the image for the right image, which I think it's this blue car one. We're gonna change the text here from Model 3 to Model Y. Wait, Model Y. And let's just copy here the text. Nice. Voila, magic. We've got a new section. Looking good. We should probably fix the image for the Model Y as well, right? So let's go inspect, sources, and let's grab the Model Y for mobile. Perfect. Let's swap it out here inside Thrive Architect. And voila. Looking good. Here, I think that we should probably position the content box here to be a little bit further up the section. So let's just bring it up a little bit more so that it's clearly readable. But tell me that you don't love how easy it is to just fix these sections up so quickly. It's looking good, right? I mean, it's a one-man show here trying to build Tesla's website. I mean, there aren't 80 programmers working on this website. It's just me. And you probably at home working along with me. So, I mean, I think we're doing some really cool stuff here. All right, so let's just duplicate this section and keep on working through this. All right, so now we've got the Model X. So let's change the image. Let's use the one for the Model X. Really nice car. Gotta give it to Elon. Okay, let's keep going down. Model S. And for the sake of just saving a little bit of time, you've already seen how I would go about customizing the text and optimizing these sections for mobile. So let's just power through this quickly. Let's do the Model S. I think this car is the one that has the weird steering wheel, isn't it? And then here we get to the Cybertruck. So the Cybertruck has an interesting, let me show you what these guys did for the Cybertruck section, because the Cybertruck section is a little bit more special. As you can see, the image, oops, I changed it in the wrong section here. It's background section. The image doesn't actually have the Cybertruck logo. And I inspected their website, and this is an SVG. It's code. I don't know how I do know how they did it, but it's going to take you a long time to try to do this in SVG format. And it's just what I did, and what we're going to do is we're going to delete this text element, and we're going to delete this text element. Well, first, let's drag and drop an image above the text element here, and I'm just going to use the Cybertruck logo as an image. It's going to be much easier than just trying to use or get the HTML embed for the SVG code of this logo. It's just going to be a real pain. So let's just use the logo in image format. Let's delete the text element, and we can probably make this a little bit bigger. But yeah, looking good. And I think we're just missing one more section for solar. For solar, actually, I've duplicated the Cybertruck section, but I think I want to duplicate one of the other ones because I do want text. So let's grab this section, duplicate, and let's drag it down. Perfect. And here, let's just grab the section for solar. And I think the text here it's got to be white. Right? I mean, you would think it's going to be white, otherwise it's not going to be readable. Yeah, solar panels, schedule a virtual consultation. All right, guys, I think that we're ready to preview what our page looks like. Let's check it out. Alrighty, Tesla mega menu here. If we wanted to, Model 3 section, order now, Model Y section, Oh, this is Model X section, Model S section, Cybertruck section, Solar section, and our footer. Pretty neat. When I work on these rebuilds, my goal is truly to just show you how simple web design truly is, even at an S&P 500 level. There truly is no need for you to think about complicating things for your business from a visual standpoint. If Tesla doesn't do it, why should you? Just focus on crafting a compelling story on your site that prompts people to take action and buy your product and service from you. All right, useful links to learn more about Thrive Architect and Thrive Theme Builder are in the description box. You can drop any questions that you may have about anything that you've seen in this video in the comment section. And I truly appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Yeah, I'll see you soon. Thanks again.